2025 was a pretty good year for games. Expedition 33 has arguably the best story of any game ever, plus great gameplay. Then, of course, there was KCD2, and we mustn't forget games like Silksong and Hades 2, which weren't for everyone though. 2026, on the other hand, looks like a year when a lot of games will be released that everyone can enjoy. What do I mean specifically? Let's take a look together. Number 1. GTA 6, November 19th. How else could I start this list than with the most anticipated game of all time? This game has been in development for 13 years and reportedly cost $1 billion. The expectations for this new release are therefore indescribable. So far, however, we know very little about it. It will take place in Vice City and we will have two protagonists whose dynamic will be similar to that of the famous criminal duo Bonnie and Clyde. We have seen some footage from the game, but no gameplay. I could certainly tell you how much I'm looking forward to this game, because we all grew up with GTA, whether it was 5, 4, San Andreas, or even an earlier installment, but I'll try to look at it from the other side. What could go wrong with this sequel? First of all, Dan Houser is gone. Who is he, you ask? The co-founder of Rockstar, who worked on the script for most of their games. He left in 2020, and it was undoubtedly a great loss. So how will Rockstar cope with the absence of someone who had been with the company since its inception and was essentially its soul? It's unclear how much the script has changed since he left, or if it was already finished and just needed some fine-tuning. That's the big question. Then there's the fact that Rockstar will, in my opinion, need to improve the gameplay. Don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed all their games, but you will admit that their basic gameplay revolves around this task: go somewhere, shoot it up, and leave again. I understand that if it's all wrapped up in a beautiful story, the game can be forgiven, but it's 2026 and I think it's time for some innovation. I don't know how to solve this specifically, but I hope the developers have come up with something. And well, my last concern is that the game will be too biased towards the political left. GTA has always been about making fun of both sides of the political spectrum, but many years have passed since GTA 5 was released, and times have changed a lot. It is well known that studios are literally filled with left-leaning people who dictate what can and cannot be in games and try at all costs to include some form of activism on the topics of race, gender or sexuality. There were already subtle hints about this in Red Dead Redemption 2. Even though we played as a robber, murderer and a thief, authors strongly opposed racism and sexism. Am I really supposed to believe that a criminal from the turn of the 19th and 20th century would be like that? Fortunately, there wasn't much of it in the game, and the other good elements outweighed the minor annoyance, but I'm afraid there will be much more of it in GTA 6 because of the setting, modern America, and the two protagonists, a white man and a Latina woman, certainly encourages this. We'll see how it all turns out, but at the very least, I'm sure the open world will be like nothing we've seen before, super realistic with an incredible amount of activities. We only have a few months to wait before we find out, unless Rockstar delays the game as usual. Number 2. Resident Evil Requiem, February 27. A new Resident Evil installment after 5 years, not counting the remake of 4, which was excellent. After 20 years, we return to Raccoon City, devastated by a bomb that was dropped on it in an attempt to stop the spread of the T-virus. We will play as two characters, Grace Ashcroft, who will offer us the horror experience we are used to from Resident Evil 7, and the legendary Leon Kennedy, who will provide us with more action-packed gameplay. We'll see how the developers manage to combine these two things and whether the switching from style to style will work. Leon looks great, older, more mature, but still a tough guy who kicks zombies in the head. And with Grace, it looks like we might be in for some interesting mysteries involving her mother, who was the protagonist of Resident Evil Outbreak. Personally, I hope that one of my favorite game series will kick off this year with a strong new installment right from the start. Number 3. The Blood of Dawnwalker. Release date not yet announced. Do you like Witcher 3? Who doesn't? Well, what if I told you that several key developers left CDPR, founded their own studio, and this is the result. A game that is very similar to Witcher 3, but enriched with vampire themes. This looks very interesting. The developers have also said that the game will have unique mechanics. You won't be able to complete all the quests. You'll be limited by time and will have to choose what to complete and what not to. This will lead to repeated playthroughs of the game and, based on completed and uncompleted quests, to different endings. We've seen quite a bit of this game already, and what's really great is that the developers are listening to the fans. The first gameplay footage wasn't great, so they took the feedback, implemented it, and the latest footage looks much better. Number 4. James Bond 007 First Light, May 27. Despite James Bond's popularity, we haven't seen many good video games from his world. And I don't think this one will be an exception. Yes, I think this will be a flop. Why? The trailers look great. Yes, they do, and it looks like the game will have gameplay similar to the Hitman, which are definitely great games, but let's take a look at the developer's comments. He'll be a modern guy with modern values, so it won't be the old Bond, who would seem completely out of place today, right? What did they mean by that? We've heard similar comments about many flops, and it always looks the same. A weak main character who subordinates himself to the minority races and women around him, allows himself to be humiliated by them, and mainly deals with issues of racism instead of trying to save the world like the classic Bond. I don't understand how the developers could even make such a statement. Now it's completely clear what kind of game this will be. The gameplay may be okay, but the story is a humiliation ritual for 007. Number 5. Wolverine, release date not yet announced. The developers of Spider-Man are bringing us another Marvel hero, but this time one who isn't afraid of blood and severed limbs. Although we can expect gameplay similar to Spider-Man games, the tone of the game will probably be a little different. More brutal and mature, as you would expect from someone like Wolverine. In the trailer, we see his iconic enemies such as Sentinels and Omega Red, as well as characters with whom he has a more complicated relationship, such as Mystique. Mystique raises one major concern about the game, something I've mentioned repeatedly with several games on this list: the fear of activism. In Spider-Man 2, we saw a confusing change in the face of Mary Jane, Spider-Man's girlfriend, and for the worse. There was no other explanation for this than that activist developers are bothered by the idea of attractive women in their games, which impresses male players. This isn't something I made up, but something the developers at many studios talk about, and it's also reflected in movies and TV shows. So it's quite possible that instead of the femme fatale that Mystique is in the comics, we'll see a girl boss character who will humiliate Wolverine at every opportunity. Other than that, the game looks pretty good, as I mentioned, with gameplay very similar to Spider-Man, so if you like those games, it's quite likely that you'll like this one too. Number 6. Control 2 Resonant. Release date not yet announced. This gem from 2019 is getting a sequel. In the meantime, a shooter from the same world, FBC Firebreak, was released, but it was a bit of a flop, so we'll pretend that didn't happen. We expect great things from the studio behind Max Payne and Alan Wake. In my opinion, Control is a very underrated game and one of my favorites, so let's hope that the change in the genre for this game, from a shooter in Control to something more like Devil May Cry in this installment, will pay off more for Remedy than the change in Agent Anderson's race in Alan Wake 2. Number 7. Fable. Release date not yet announced. Expectations for this game are high for 3 reasons. First, the return of the Fable series, which has been on hold for a long time. Will the game be modernized enough to today's standards? Second, it's an action RPG, which is probably one of the most popular video game genres, and if done right, it's always something special. And third, the game is backed by Xbox, which lags far behind its rival PlayStation. So if this game is successful, it may help to even out the imbalance between these two game giants a little. However, the first footage of this game doesn't give me much hope. Looking at the face of the main protagonist, I find it hard to find anything positive to say about it. I don't know who Xbox is appealing to with this, but if they're trying to win back players, I would definitely choose the protagonist who doesn't look like you might meet them in a caravan in British countryside. Number 8. Crimson Desert, March 19th. Do you like massive games such as Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which take dozens of hours to complete? That's what the developers of Crimson Desert promise. This, plus diverse and strange looking enemies such as giant monsters, goblins, robots, dragons, ghosts, and many others, promise at least a very unique experience. If you've played the MMORPG Black Desert, this game will be similar, but primarily focused as an adventure RPG, although there will also be a multiplayer mode, but as a separate experience in the style of GTA Online. Number 9. Phantom Blade Zero, September 9th. Do you know what the term wuxia means? It's a popular Chinese genre of films and video games about heroes practicing martial arts in ancient China. If you've played Black Myth Wukong, you'll know what I'm talking about. In this game, you play as the assassin Soul, who only has 66 days to live. If this next Souls-like from Chinese developers turns out as well as Wukong, you have something to look forward to. Number 10. Toxic Commando, March 12th. John Carpenter, author of many iconic films such as Halloween and Escape from New York, has decided to turn his attention to games. If you like his style of filmmaking, you'll definitely be interested in this game. It's a cooperative first-person shooter where you and 3 other players drive around the map and mow down zombies everywhere around you. The inspiration from games such as Space Marine 2 and Left 4 Dead is clear, but what sets the game apart are the open maps with vehicles that can also be used as weapons. I know there are many shooters like this on the market, but I was intrigued by the name of John Carpenter behind it, plus unique ideas such as combat with vehicles, which you don't see so often in this genre. So there you have it, a list of the 10 most anticipated games of 2026. Of course, there will be many more, but I decided to include only those that caught my attention the most. I can't please everyone's taste, as we all prefer different genres and styles of video games. Let me know in the comments below which game you are most looking forward to. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.